Hello everyone and welcome back to those who are already a part of this channel with their little sweet subscription. So today I'm going to sketch a portrait of her, and the main topic of today's video is the hair. How we draw the hair, how we shade them, and how we make the details that give it a realistic touch. As you can see, there are several details on the hair and we will discuss them in detail. So let's begin. I have used the grid method to draw the outline of this portrait, and I'm creating a base layer with the B pencil and covering all of the area which I'm going to work on. I'm using a dry brush and a tissue paper for the blending purpose. I'm also using a powder about which I have already discussed in my previous video. Now I'm moving towards the second layer and giving some details to the flow of hair by using 2B pencil. For this purpose, you have to carefully observe the reference image. While you will be observing the reference image, you will clearly notice the flow of hair, where they are in a bending position and where they are in a curved position, and where are the darker tones and where the highlights are present. So just mark the darker tones where the darker values are present on the reference image and blend that second layer with the brush. Same thing I'm repeating on the other side of the hair, means the second layer. This second layer is temporary, but it is very much important because it's a base on which your whole sketch is going to stand. Here you will observe the flow of hair. One more thing which I want to say is just please ignore the light effect that is causing a layer disturbance in the vision, but I forgot to adjust the focus of the camera, so this is just because of that. Never mind, let's move towards the portrait. Till now, I have marked the highlight with the Tombow Mono Zero eraser, and now I'm using the 4B pencil for the darker values that are present and giving some more details to the hair, as you can see in the video. A very most important thing that I always keep repeating in all of my videos is be very careful in observing the reference image, or become a very good observer if you want to be a very good artist. Now I'm using the 6B pencil and adding more depth to the area. Now let's discuss something about the shades and the darker values, the lighter values, and how you will be able to giving your hair such depth and realism. Let's talk about some pencils which are made for the base layer. Firstly, the F pencil. It is very light pencil and its nib is very hard and it blend very smoothly. You can see the shade of it. It's actually very light pencil. And it is very useful when you are going to sketch a portrait of light shades. The next pencil which I'm going to talk about is the B pencil. And it is also a light pencil but has some thick and dark tone, and it is also very easy to blend. So the first one was the F and the second one was the B pencil. You can see the difference. The F pencil is very thin. The nib is very thin and hard, and the B pencil is a little thick. Now the next pencil which I'm going to talk about is the HB pencil, and it is also a very light pencil, but I really don't usually use this. It is somehow darker than the F pencil and is again thin at the nib and is hard. And the same thing is going on with it. It is easy to blend. So there are the three of the pencils which I have already talked about, and here is the blending result of them. You can see the B, the HB result, and the F result. Now I'm going to slow up the speed and I'm going to try to discuss the details in brief. So suppose if this is a rough sketch of the hair which I'm making, you can see like this. And please don't mind if it is not very neat and clean because it is totally freehand. So suppose these are the hair, and now just focus on the flow of the hair which I'm creating, that this is the flow, and like just like this. Yeah. You will be able to notice this flow by your reference image. Just focus on that and try to sketch as it is. Now, suppose this is a separate layer, and how will you manage this into the whole structure of the hair? I'll tell you in this. Just like this. Yeah. Now, here, the hair are in curve position. You can see how they are making a beautiful harmony with the whole structure. Now, I'm making the details more prominent. Now I'm adding the first layer, and for this I'm moving my pencil in the direction of the flow to give it a very a beautiful touch, because it will give it a realistic touch. If I will not focus on this flow and I mess up the whole procedure, and then the realism will not come out as a result. So I am moving my pencil in in the direction of the flow of here, so it will become merge and give a very realistic and specific look to the hair. You have to follow this procedure for the whole area. First, you will draw a rough sketch. Second, you will illustrate the flow of hair carefully. Third, you will prominent the details. Fourth, you will start making the first layer by moving your pencil in the direction of the flow of hair. Fifth, you will prominent the area where the darker tones or values are present. Now, I'm going to use my dry brush for blending the first layer, just like this. Now, moving towards the second layer, and I'm going to prominent the areas where I have to apply darker tones. Now, again, creating second layer uh, by moving my pencil in the direction of the flow, just like this, and adding the details where the darker tones are present, just like this, as you can see in the video. How I can add depth to my hair. This is just like this. You will start adding darker tones where you are going to create the depth in the hair. Now, just look at this video. You can clearly see how the layers are formed, how they are formed. Now you can see that how the hair are not separate, but they are separate in the form of layer, and but they are totally in harmony. Just look at the picture. Where the bends are present in the hair, the area is little bit dark, and you will not just apply a greater pressure with a dark pencil over that area. Instead, you will use a lighter pencil and start adding the layers on the top of each other, just like this. And I'm going to blend the second layer. So this was a total process, a basic process of sketching the hair. And now moving back towards the portrait, I'm just following the previous procedure which I have just discussed to create the realistic look in the whole hair process. Just following the layer procedure, I'm just creating layer one after other and blending the layer, creating highlights, and it is just like this. Now again, I'm creating the third layer, which is of highlights. remember that first layer is the base layer, second you are going to permanent the areas, and the second layer which you are going to apply is of the darker values and other details, and the third layer is of the highlights. And after that you will again blend and use 6B pencil or 8B pencil to add more depth and more details to the hair. But I prefer using 6B pencil instead of using 8B pencil, because 8B pencil is a very thick pigment pencil and it leaves a very rough strokes on the paper surface, which really don't look like a smooth shading or give very rough effect. So I prefer using 6B pencil because it is somehow easier to blend as compared to the 8B pencil. Same thing I'm repeating for the other side. Sorry, it's looking very shiny in the video because as you know I'm using graphite pencils, and graphite pencils are a little shiny to the light, so this effect is causing, I mean, a very disturbance, but still please don't mind. Now I'm again making the highlights prominent so it may not fade away in the overall procedure. Um, the hair are almost complete. Just giving it a finishing touch. Let's move towards the face. Firstly, making the eyebrows, then creating the first layer, which is actually a base layer. For now, I'm using the blending stump for the blending purpose because there are minor details present on the face, and for those details, I will use the blending stumps. Working on the second eye. For this whole procedure, I'm using the pencils 2B, 4B, and 6B pencil. Always work in layers if you want a smooth shading effect. Moving towards the lips, and firstly I added the base layer, and then I used my 4B pencil for adding some depth, and then needed eraser to prominent the highlights, and again using the 6B pencil for other details, and then eraser pen, and then blending, and then electric eraser, and this is the overall procedure. Everyone is well aware with the shape of the face. You know very well about the contouring, where the cheekbone, the jaws, and everything is present. So it is very easy to contour the face, to shade the face. Just go with your senses and go with the reference image to create some details on the face. Now moving towards the neck area, and firstly I'm adding the base and then adding uh, the second layer, just like this. By observing the reference image, I come to know where the darker values are present, and then I'm using the tissue paper for here because the area is somehow wide, and I don't want to create patches over the surface, so it may not look very smooth and good. So I'm using the tissue paper for this purpose. Just adding the base and then again using my blending stump and the brush and tissue paper for covering the whole area. Moving towards the shirt, and firstly creating the base layer with the 2B pencil. Why I'm using 2B pencil for here? Because the area here is very much darker, and if I use the B pencil or HB pencil for the first layer, then it will be really very time consuming, and I really don't want to make this video extra long and boring. So I'm using 2B pencil for the first layer, so it will cover up the area easily and hurriedly. Now creating her beautiful necklace. So it's almost done, and here is the result. I hope you liked this video, and if this video was a little bit helpful, then please do subscribe to this channel. Thank you.